Hello everyone out there in the United States of America and more. You are watching one of the only broadcasts that talk about the Industrial Revolution, which is why we are called the Industrial Revolution 401. Today we are going to be talking about the effects on different social classes during the Industrial Revolution and the consequences of growing social inequality.
Yes, we are, Frankie. Today we will be showing you guys many different interviews of people in the revolution, skits of people who lived through the revolution, and scenarios that represent the social classes.
Yes, and not only will these skits and interviews show the point of view of people in the different social classes during this time. Look at these factory owners thinking they are better than everyone else.
Now that we have explained what we will be showing you today, let's get into our first skit.
Order in the court. Now someone tell me why you people are here today. It's right before my lunch break and I am hungry.
I'm here today because I am not getting treated fairly in the factory that I work in.
That's all just straight nonsense.
It was not your turn to speak, sir. Please wait.
Sorry about him, Your Honor. It won't happen again.
And can't make any promises.
Excuse me?
Nothing, Your Honor.
That's what I thought. Now, young lady, please plead your case.
Before I worked in the factories, life was okay. I would take care of the children and keep the house tidy. When my husband started working, he made the money in our house. Suddenly, we needed it to survive. Mr. Long let me work in the factory, but I didn't think it would be like this. I didn't think I'd get treated as such. My family needed me to work because we barely got any inheritance from our parents, and our farm hadn't been doing well because of the weather.
You know why I do all that stuff. I would only hire a woman because they're easy to control, and I don't have to pay you as much as I pay the men.
Your Honor, can't you see that this man does not care? He shows no respect whatsoever to his factory workers. My client and many other women have to live in boarding houses or tenements, have a curfew, and attend church every day by force. The least you can do is tell this man to show some respect.
You make a very fair point. You do. But to shut down a whole factory because of one person complaining, that is a hard thing to do. I do not know if I can make that happen.
Hey, it's not one person. I work in the same factory as that woman. I get treated unfairly too.
You need to treat us fairly.
Hey Judge, she can't disrespect me. I'm a prominent white male, and she is a no-good housewife. Women shouldn't have rights. Isn't that why she can't vote?
Everyone quiet down. Now. This court meeting has come to an end. The factory owner has been proven not guilty. Now everyone have a good day.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate it.
Anything for the boost of our economy. And that money you said you would pay me? Well, it is extremely obvious that there's unjustified behavior in the courtroom.
I agree. Women, along with any type of factory workers, are treated as less.
Hey, do you ever wonder what a day would look like in one of these factories, especially from the perspective of a young child?
I had a feeling you would say that. On to our next skit.
A day in the life of a child factory worker.
Imagine you were a factory worker in the Industrial Revolution. The twist is, you're 8 years old and you don't even know how to tie your shoes.
Almost done. 2 hours left.
Frank here, he is a doffer. He replaces full bobbins with empty ones. If he isn't quick enough, the machine may catch on fire. An 8-year-old being exposed to this type of machinery is extremely unsafe. He works 14 hours a day, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. for $9 a week. But is his home life even better?
Oh, hi, sorry. What's your name again?
Yes, it's Sadie. I moved in here yesterday with the Burgers and the Harrisons.
Oh, okay. Are you over with my family?
Yes, with my sister. Come on in, please.
What are you doing? Help your mother with the dishes immediately.
Sorry, sir. I was talking to Sadie.
Who is Sadie? I've lost track of the people living here.
Sadie's living with us. There are 18 people, I believe, sir. Excuse me, 17. Little Joe died. Some of his body got caught in the machinery. His wounds got infected. It was no longer bearable.
What do you say to me?
With the stress of work, Frank's father has taken frequent visits to the pub. He tries to drink the pain away. Little does he know how it mentally affects Frank, an 8-year-old exposed to such behavior. As seen, many lived through difficult times during the Industrial Revolution.
The areas where the factories were built were overpopulated and there were often food shortages.
Every day, people as young as 4 had grueling routines in these factories. Even with the risk of dying, the factory owners made them work every single day.
Shall we hear what a young girl has to say about working in the factories?
Why not?
Hello, can you start by stating your name, age, and place of birth?
Sure, and thanks again for having me. I'm Chloe Hudson, I'm 20 years old, and I was born in Maine.
Interesting. Now that the Industrial Revolution has been over for 10 years, how do you feel? Are you still mentally or physically affected by it?
Unfortunately, I'm still affected both ways. Mentally, I sometimes wake up at 4 a.m. in preparation for my past 5 a.m. shift. Additionally, I have nightmares about getting whipped by the owners or having to live through another one of my friends dying. Physically, I still have wounds on my fingers from getting them caught in the machinery, and I have bad lungs because of the cotton dust I've inhaled. If it couldn't get any worse, I also cannot read or write well. I was deprived of any sort of education.
I'm so sorry. Okay, so you said people have died? How so?
Well, many died from accidents, but more got injured. Some went deaf because of the machinery noise, and some children lost fingers because we had small hands and had to put them in the machinery. Overall, it was just a dangerous environment.
Did anything positive come out of the revolution?
Not for me per se, but this woman I used to live with in a boarding house actually had a positive outcome. I can get her to swing by here tomorrow if you want an interview.
That would be great. Thank you for your time here today. Hello, Industrial Revolution 401. I'm reporter Frankie. I'm here with this woman right here. Hello, ma'am. Please state your name, age, and place of birth.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Ella Crail. I'm 36 years old and I was born in Massachusetts.
Thank you for arriving on such a short notice.
It's my pleasure.
So, your acquaintance Chloe has told me that you've had a positive experience from the Industrial Revolution. Is that true?
I mean, there are negatives, but personally, I'd say that my experience has been a pretty good one.
How so?
Well, I've grown independent, I've become a women's rights activist, and I own a successful business.
That sounds great. If you don't mind, may you explain your story?
Sure. I worked in a factory in Massachusetts, I lived in a boarding house, and I, as a woman, was expected to buy clothes and jewelry to make myself look visually appealing. This life was better than some, but I didn't particularly enjoy how we were treated. When I say we, I mean women, not just factory workers in general. Everyone got treated badly, but us women had it worse. We weren't to question successful white men, which frustrated me. Women in the factory and I went on strike until we were treated better. We created the Lowell Female Labor Reform Association to protest against the harsh atmosphere we were forced to work in. We weren't going to go off strike unless the U.S. legislature passed a law that limited our work hours to 10 per day. They did it for a while, but it was a significant alteration in history. Women would now fight for their rights, like the right to vote. Then I decided to open my own business. I never had a husband, and because of my factory work, I was extremely independent. It was like all these doors were opening for me. I'm sorry, I have to go. Thank you for having me.
Sure, thanks for coming. I guess some people had okay experiences, but the little good doesn't outweigh the bad.
I agree. I feel bad for these children and women. Were there any other groups of people that got treated as less than the white men?
Actually, yes. Irish immigrants were treated as even less.
Great. Another group of people that were treated as less than the rich white landowners.
Let's see what their life was like.
Hello, thank you for joining me today.
Hello, are you sure you want to speak to me? No one ever does.
Of course, why would you say that?
Ever since me and my family immigrated to the United States, we are forced to accomplish such difficult labor that they were saying an Irishman buried under for every tie. During the Industrial Revolution, we had to work on railroads, which was the most demeaning task that could be given out. Many died through these difficult times. Additionally, we had to build canals and work in coal mines, and the Irish woman could work as servants and factory owners. The factory owners and rich landowners also took advantage of black people. We were given all the most difficult tasks with the littlest amount of pay. Even though slavery was abolished over the parts of the Industrial Revolution, black people were still treated as less. When compared to other social classes, I think us, among the black people, get treated the worst.
Thank you for that. I don't think it's right that people who aren't from American land originally get treated differently. You all get treated as less, so something needs to change.
Wow, they got treated worse than I thought they did.
All say, men, children, women, Irish people, black people. Are there any other classes?
Well,
No.
the men behind all this, the men who caused their deaths, injuries, traumas, failure, and dehumanization of all Americans in poverty, the factory owners.
I wonder if they thought they were doing something wrong. I wonder if they even thought that for a second that what they were doing was affecting others in such an indescribable, inhumane way.
I guess we'll see.
Hello, sir. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, whatever. Just start asking questions before I leave.
As you wish, sir. What was the outcome for you financially after the Industrial Revolution?
I'm still rich. Do you think I really already spent or lost all my money? I guess it's true. You people don't know anything about handling money.
That was not my question, sir. I just asked how it solely benefited you.
Okay. So I got a lot of money. I paid my workers less, so I got more. Simple as that.
Oh, it was that simple. You treat people badly, so your no good, selfish, unlikable self could benefit? Was it worth it? Was risking the lives of destitute workers worth it?
Honestly, yeah. Until inventions and laws started slowly depriving me of my earnings. Inventions that ended the Industrial Revolution and the child labor law that was passed in 1938 were horrible changes in society. It ruined me and my work.
Maybe you can now realize what deprivation feels like. You're ignorant, arrogant, selfish, and greedy. I think we're done here. Wow, you would think that they may care the slightest bit, but no.
It's crazy how someone can be that rich but know so little about the human decency and sympathy.
I concur. I think it was great. Today we took a deep dive on the social classes in the Industrial Revolution. We know how it affected different social classes and how it ultimately shaped their entire lives.
It's true, whether they're poor or rich, man or woman, American or not, injured or not, it affected them for the rest of their lives.
We saw how some women benefited independently, but we also saw how non-Americans were killed off like it was nothing.
Even though the Industrial Revolution benefited the United States economy and made our country powerful, as a country, we need to recognize the horrible effects of the divided social classes.
How factory owners took complete control of workers and made them into their own little puppets.
How the destitute families had to live in cramped tenements with other families.
And overall, how people of less power and privilege were treated throughout the entire Industrial Revolution.
Thank you for listening to our talk of the Industrial Revolution.
Have a great day.
Thank you to everyone who helped out.
Samuel Slater was an actual factory owner during the Industrial Revolution. In fact, he created the first successful cotton mill in the United States. He lived in England for a while and was an apprentice to Jedediah Strutt. Strutt was the partner of Richard Arkwright, who invented the spinning wheel in England and was a significant part of the Industrial Revolution. When Slater immigrated to the United States, he applied his knowledge of cotton manufacturing by creating the first cotton mill in the United States. With some help from artisans and financial support, he was in business. Eventually, he created other textile mills and plants in New England. As factories grew and grew just because of Slater's manufacturing knowledge, the social classes kept dividing even more. Factory owners lived the dream as they made money through the production of goods. However, the poorest citizens were living in the most appalling conditions. They lived in tiny tenements that were dirty, cramped, and some appliances in the place didn't even work. They couldn't choose if they wanted to work or not because they needed the money. If they didn't work, they would somehow be living in worse conditions. The factory owners basically controlled the entire lives, making them do dreadful tasks continuously. The factory owners were responsible for many deaths and injuries of so many people, including children. The worst part is, they got away with it. Even with the complaints of many workers and protesters, the factory owners still had control over everything and everyone. The workers lived in cities near the factories, which were extremely crowded, had food shortages because many workers left their farms to earn more money in factories. They were loud, and they had air pollution because of the abundant amount of factories. Many men drank a lot of alcohol during the Industrial Revolution to try to alleviate the mental suffering that they went through. It is horrible to look back at all the people who resorted to alcohol just because they wanted to feel better about the situation they were in. This shows that even if everyone wasn't dying or getting hurt in the factories, they were still affected in many other ways. We shouldn't only focus on the physical damages, but also the mental damages. To answer the question, how did the Industrial Revolution affect different social classes and what were the consequences of growing social inequality? The effects were the complete and utter power that the factory owners had. The factory owners made more money than ever, while all the workers lived in horrible poverty throughout the entire revolution. The consequences of the growing social inequality were all the deaths, injuries, living conditions, experiences, trauma, deprivation, alcoholism, and helplessness of the unfortunate poor citizens during the 1800s and 1900s.